If you don't have an emotional spine to a story, we don't like anything. Even our comedies have to have an emotional spine.
So it's all about the writing, to be honest. I feel like we give too much importance to the actors and the way the actors have performed it. I feel like there's so much in the writing of it.
Especially on the film and fraternity or the entertainment world, there's no point in being extra strict on it just because we are the entertainers. We shouldn't be levied a heavy tax because of it.
Hello everyone, welcome to PeepingMoon.com. I'm Rashita Sahani and today I'm extremely pleased to be chatting with Vikram Bhatt, Omkar Kapoor and Sandeepa Dhar for their upcoming MX Player show Bisaat. Hi everyone, how have you been? Welcome to Peeping Moon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How have you been, sir?
Good.
Okay. Omkar, Sandeepa, all good?
All good, yeah. How's lockdown been?
Oh, it's been the same, never ending.
Oh,
Okay. So, Vikram sir, we all know that you have been like the master of making horrors and thrillers. And this time, of course, we'll be seeing a murder mystery from your end. So, when did this idea hit your brain that, I'll be making something like that and that for the web?
Very honestly, I wasn't supposed to direct the show.
Okay.
I was only writing it first. And while I was writing it, just, I think every script, every screenplay talks back to you.
Yeah.
If you let the characters lose a little bit and don't have a predestined path for them to take, they start to take a path of their own. And sometimes because of budget or sometimes because of other, what you may call, circumstances, you kind of curb those characters. So this time I said, I don't want to hold them back. And then it turned out to be so good that I got completely greedy and decided to do it myself.
Thank God.
Okay. Okay. And Sandeepa, Omkar, what prompted you? So firstly, I watched the trailer, of course, and I found it interesting. But what was that one thing that you found the most interesting and, it prompted you to be a part of this show?
For me, it was completely the script. I mean, there are like twists and turns every 10, 15 minutes. And when I was reading it, I was, at that time, I wasn't reading it as an actor. I was just reading it as an audience. And like each time I was reading an episode, I wanted to know what happens next. Who's done what, and has she done this? Is she guilty? Is she not guilty? I really wanted to know. And for a thriller, and for a like a whodunit or murder mystery, I think that's like the most basic thing. Like if you as an audience want to know what happens next, then you've won half the battle. So, and of course, for me, that was one of the primary reasons because he had written it really, really well. And of course, there was a character which was author-backed. I mean, there was no way any actor would have said no to, a character like Kiana because she is pretty much driving the entire story, and she's got like a crazy journey through and through, which goes through so much up and down, and there's so much emotional stuff. And she's got this relationship with the husband, she's got these other relationships with friends and patients, and then in this entire thing, there's this murder that she's accused of. So so as a woman, there's so much that you can play with. As an actor, that there's so much that you can play with. And so I just grabbed the opportunity with every little limb of mine, and I told him that I'm going to do this, and let's. I was very petrified initially because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull this off on. But of course, Vikram Bhatt, being Vikram Bhatt, said, "Worry not, I'm there to guide you through this, and we'll make this happen." And he did. He pretty much held my hand through it, and we did this. So that was the reason. And of course, I think as an actor, you're also looking for opportunities wherein this character is supposed to be different from everything that you've done earlier. And it most definitely is. I haven't done anything like this. I feel like this is like, as an actor, it shows the complete range There are dramatic scenes, and there's this romantic bit, and then there is everything in it. So yeah, I think a great script with a great character, and of course MX backing it, which also, you can do great stories, but if it doesn't reach the right people, then there's no point when you're putting in that effort for nothing. So all of that, I think the entire packaging, and of course for me the high point was the fact that Vikram was directing it, because he hadn't directed for quite some time, and he was finally directing this. So it was a great opportunity. I'm a huge fan of his work, whether it's Raz or Kasoor. So for me to get the opportunity of working with the man of the genre was the best possible thing. You can't ask for anything better. To do thriller with Vikram Bhatt is the ideal combination for any actor, and of course the role that he gave me the opportunity to embody was fab. So there was no other reason that I needed to do this.
I'm sure. Omkar, what was it for you?
It was very unlike what I've done before, or whether I will get that opportunity again to do something like this. I think वो मेरे लिए बहुत ही एक novelty factor था. Genre बहुत अलग था, script बहुत ही character डॉक्टर अभिजीत का जो character है वो I think एक होता है ना कि कुछ performances में आपको एक subtlety चाहिए होती है. वो इनफैक्ट इट्स अ टफर थिंग टू अचीव एट टाइम्स. तो वो चीज मुझे पता था कि इस चीज में इस रोल में चैलेंजिंग होने वाली. बट लकीली सर वाज अराउंड एंड ही वाज गाइडिंग मी हाउ टू गो अबाउट इट, एंड आई थिंक इसलिए वो कैरेक्टर प्ले करना मेरे लिए थोड़ा इजी हो गया. जहन में इतना कुछ चलता रहता है, लेकिन चेहरे पे वो उस चीज को कंपोजर रखना, वो चीज मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी इस कैरेक्टर के बारे में. और एंड ऑब्वियसली द चांस टू वर्क विद विक्रम, आई मीन द काइंड ऑफ स्टोरीज ही क्रिएट्स एंड ही वीव्स एक्चुअली सारे कैरेक्टर्स होते हुए कहानी आगे बढ़ती रहती है, उनकी कहानी ऐसी होती है. तो वो मेरे लिए एक आई थिंक अट्रैक्टिव चीज.
Okay, fantastic. And Vikram sir, of course, while planning a story like this one, which is a murder mystery, and it has to keep you glued onto your screens to watch. Sometimes what happens if the story is not interesting enough, the audience leave it midway, especially when it's something on web, you can just close it. But what are your do nots that you follow while making a story like this one, something which is interesting, which will let the audience to be there until the very end?
I think the most important dictum of any writer director on any platform, whether it's stage or cinema or the OTT, is, for Christ's sake, don't bore the audience. And the second thing is, do not tell them everything. Respect their intelligence. They understand far more than you think they understand. And I really respect my audience, because मतलब आजकल तो ऑडियंस ऐसी है कि वो लड़का आता भी नहीं और ऑडियंस बोला ये ना रेपिस्ट है, देखना ये आगे चलकर रेप करने वाला है. तो उनको पता चल जाता है, अरे इनका ना अभी ये लोग किस करने वाले हैं, देखना ये लोग किस करने वाले हैं, देखो एक दूसरे को कैसे देख रहे हैं. उनको मालूम पड़ जाता है, उनको बताने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती. There is 100 years of cinema literacy.
Yeah.
And the audience is cinema literate. So I think if you respect the audience's intelligence, and if you swear that you're not going to bore them, or at least purposefully not bore them, the chances are that you will have something interesting on your hand.
I'm sure. Yeah. And of course, with so much content coming out every now and then, thanks to the OTT platforms, there are so many murder mysteries that we have seen before. But as someone who has made it and as someone who has acted in it, how do you all, give me a reason or say a standout point that makes Bisaat different from whatever has been made before? So one point if you all could give.
Bisaat is different because I think Bisaat has got a very strong emotional spine. And the country where we come from, if you don't have an emotional spine to a story, we don't like anything. Even our comedies have to have an emotional spine. So, and I've seen that even in the horror films I've made. If you just make a slasher film, it might work in the West, but it doesn't work here.
Yeah.
And I think Bisaat is a great love story of the husband and the wife. Omkar and Sandeepa have a great love story in the film. They have great chemistry. They have great characterizations. And I think they've done brilliantly. They keep praising me for some reason, but they have done very, very well. And I think that is what is different about Bisaat, because in a murder mystery, if you don't care for the person who has been accused of murder, you don't care for the story. The whole thing was to make the audiences care for Kiana enough to make them feel that has she done it, has she not done it, is she going to get out of it? And that, I think, is the difference.
Okay. Sandeepa?
I think Vikram kind of said it all. I feel it's the connect, yeah. I mean, I feel like if I have to go back to like a murder mystery, like an NH10 or like criminal justice, I feel like these have worked because somewhere the characters work. You connect with the characters. So it's all about the writing, to be honest. I feel like we give too much importance to the actors and the way the actors have performed it. I feel like there's so much in the writing of it. If I don't have his words and I don't have what he's created, there's nothing that I can add to. So I feel like the strongest part of Bisat is the fact that it's a very well written story. He's written it very very smartly, intelligently, and he's kept it as real as possible in terms of emotions. And like he rightly said, that it's the emotional connect. If you don't connect to the characters emotionally, then you'll not really care about it, and then it doesn't matter who's killed and who's not killed and who's accused and who's not accused. Um, so yeah, I feel like the writing is what sets it apart from everything else. And of course, I feel like there's a cliffhanger in every damn episode. Like when I was watching it, I've read the script, I've enacted in it, I know the story inside out. But when I was watching it, I was watching it with the thinking, shit, now what's going to happen? Is she going to go scot free? Is she not going to go scot free? And the way he's edited it and the way each episode ends, you really want to know what happens next. So for me, I think that's what sets apart from everything else.
Okay. Great. Omkar?
I think, Jaisa Sandeepa ne bhi kaha, I think what was beautiful about it was, usually uh, what I love about the story and about the relationship and about the dynamic of it is we are starting as the show itself. It starts from them being for a certain group of years already.
Yeah.
So you pick up from there, and then where the story goes and how the relationship changes with time, with issues around. He is a little protective about Kiana, but is a natural tendency that she tends to get involved in her patient's life. And I think that was something, and then also with, later stages of a marriage, I think, what are the issues or what are the fights or what are the things you face? I think that was something that was interestingly written. So I think that was new for me to enact also.
Okay, great. And as someone who has been associated with the web space, what is your take on the web censorship fiasco that happened recently?
I think to each his own, yeah. I don't. I think censorship just means a certain age group of people can watch something and certain age group can't. And that's the case throughout the world. We aren't the first country to be doing something like this. It's not something that's happening for the first time. If you're 18 above, you can watch certain content. If you're not, then there's a reason why you can't, and it's absolutely fine. I feel like it can affect people in a wrong way if they're really young, because it does affect them mentally, and it's fine. I feel like there's no problem with whatever the government is doing, and I think it's fine.
Okay. Omkar, what about you?
I mean, see, the thing is that there should be certain guidelines or a certain way to go about it. But this is my personal experience, which I've seen. That, in today's generation, I see my niece. I see so many people. They have so much necessary or unnecessary exposure to the world as well. Is you she opens up her social media, and the things that she shouldn't be watching for at that age, certain things that she is getting engrossed in that. So it's a very it's like, okay, the COVID situation, it's just spreading. You're trying to control it, it's just spreading. It is a little out of your control kind of situation, but definitely try keeping as much guidelines as possible. But there's no point in being, especially on the film and fraternity or the entertainment world, there's no point in being extra strict on it just because we are the entertainers. We shouldn't be levied a heavy tax because of it. There are other forms of also where they get the exposure, be it social media, be it so I think it's from your friends. These, the young generation learns the most actually outside their houses from their friends, and sees and tries to imbibe things from each other. I think that is also a sort of an exposure they shouldn't be having at times. But yeah, like she said, each one to its own.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Vikram sir, Omkar, and Sandeepa, for chatting with me. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Same
Thanks.
here, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome. All the very best for the show. Thank you.